We're back again. My name is Chantel Mangete. I welcome you to Imbelego. Today we'll be talking about Rastafarians. I have a visitor who's going to tell us more about Amarasta. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty, King of Kings, Haile Selassie I the First, the pillar of the African unity. Yes, my name is King Jah Roots, Africa, from Africa, in Africa, for the Africans at home and abroad. Yes, also known as the Tulan. Yes, that's right.
Okay, I welcome you, Letuktula Ngube. Okay, can you tell me what is a Rastafarian?
Okay, Rasta is the movement of Jah people. I think I'll first explain like my name. That is King Jah Roots, Africa. King, we are from the royal family, means we are kings and queens. Our lineage is of kings and queens. We're looking upon His Majesty from Ethiopia, who is Haile Selassie. So, as our lineage is of kings and queens, we look upon the African continent as our pillar. So, the Rastaman is a conscious, or the Rasta people are conscious people along the levels of the livity of our people, humanity. Because if you're a Rastaman, you must be ethnically connected, means you must be living according to the ways of Jah. So I said King Jah means my king comes from His Majesty. Then Jah is the creator, who is our father. See, when we talk of Jah, we talk of God. So means as a Rastaman, you must be always be connected to the creation of God, and you must be also connected to the roots of Africa. So you must be in the movement of the consciousness of the liberation of our people. But we are not a political party. So that's what Rasta is. It is a way of life, because it is a way of life, how we live. Yes.
Okay. So like your foundation, Amarasta wona asukela kuphi? Like
Okay. The foundation of Rasta, as Africans, we've been Rasta from creation. Because if you look from creation, we had no comb. So we had dreadlocks very already from creation. But when the white people, they came into Africa, and now basebetola ukuthi, these people, they are so dreadful, it scared them, because we are the lions, and we are the lions from the jungle. So uma beqhamuka la e-Africa bathola ukuqhamuka the lions like us with not dreadlocks. So they felt intimidated, and then they came up with the system where bafuna ukuthi they want the black people ukuthi they must trim. So that's why they introduced the Amira, Trimmer, and all this. But we, as the Rasta people, the people that are conscious, we say we're still remaining to our roots, where our hair is the strength and it is our connection with Almighty. So we keep it that way. So it's our flourish, is the way how we flourish as the king, and it's our crown. So if you're a Rasta man, you must know that you are carrying a crown that is Rasta. And most of the people that are not Rasta, you find them with dreadlocks, because this is not just hair, it's your crown. But if you are not crowned to be a king or to be a queen, with time, you know what will happen? That crown will fall. So if you're Rasta, you have to stand tall forever, because it is the way of life. Yes.
okay, so your hair is your crown.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so do you really have to have a dreadlock to be a Rasta?
I'll just put a simple thing. When you go to America without dreadlocks, I don't think they call you Rasta. But when I go wherever I go, because this is how the Rasta man must look, and you can see that that one is a Rasta man. So it is very essential for a Rasta man to be a Rasta man as the way it is supposed to be as Rasta. So I'll say it is part of the movement. So you can't be. It's the commitment, because we don't want to say that one is not Rasta because it doesn't have dreadlocks. But your commitment to Rasta, it must be to the levels of even be seen that this is Rasta and you're a Rasta. But still, as long as vertical ways, you're still Rasta, but the levels must be of those highest levels of Rasta.
All right. So since as a Rasta person, you need to be seen ukuthi lo muntu ngumrasta, kumele ube ne-Rasta.
Okay.
Not just is a must.
It is a must. Plus one is not about the dreadlocks also, because it's a package. That's what people must know. It's a package. Meaning ukuthi kumele ube must have the dreadlocks, and you must have a good heart. you must do good, because you must be righteous. That is what Rasta is. You must be righteous. Righteous in which way? Not in a churchical way where people they think it's to be righteous, you must be along the levels of the book. No, but you must know what is right and what is wrong. When you know what is right and what is wrong, then you're righteous. You have to live along those lines. So it's part of the package that you have your dreadlocks and your way of life must be righteous. I don't know whether I answered.
Yes, you did answer me. So do the Rastafarian people have rules?
When you don't have rules, it means there's nothing that is being built. So the Rasta movement itself has got lots of laws, and the laws of Rastas are the laws that guides ones that have been crafted because it is the kings and queens way. So if you follow the way of the levity of Rasta, it means you'll be living according to the lines of the kings and queens. But if you don't follow those lines of Rasta, then you'll be living according to your own craft, which will be different from Rasta. So Rasta have got ways and means of living. Yes. It's not just you wake up and you say I'm Rasta, but you're going there doing things that Rasta man doesn't do or Rasta woman doesn't do. So we've got a way of doing things, yes.
Okay, so what are some of the rules that you have?
Okay, the rules that we have is, like I've said, that you must live a clean life.
Mm-hmm.
And you must let your works be seen. That is what we prefer, that whatever you are doing, it must be seen. It must be seen by the people. And as long as the people, they see your works, then they will be knowing that, oh, that Rastaman, this is what they do. So it's part of the levity that you must bring into the people, that your works must be seen. What you do, it must be seen. Because also the world is like a mirror, you see, so your reflections must reflect the good part of the levity.
Okay, so as Rastafarians, do you marry only people of your own people, or you also allowed to marry, like, let's say since you're Rastafarian, I'm not a Rastafarian, are you allowed to marry someone who's not a Rastafarian?
Okay, yes, it's a good question. Rasta is broad. Rasta is for all the people. As long as you commit yourself to the movement and to the levity of Rasta, it becomes easier. But now, let's say as a Rasta man, then I marry someone that is into other cultures, because I said Rasta is the king of kings. When I say Rasta is the king of kings, I mean these other kings, they are the kings of their tribes. So they do as per their tribe. So if their tribe says they must slaughter and do all these things, they will do that. But the Rasta man is the king of all the people. So the doings that we do, it must be outer and international. That means it must fit all the people. So what we do, we don't slaughter. That is our way of life. We don't kill because we don't believe from creation, like I said, that we deal with Almighty. So wisdom is something that you get from the Creator. So from our wisdom, we see that from creation, when the Creator created, He created everything with love, and He didn't create any knife or any weapon for us to slaughter or to kill animals for us to eat. But with time, because we thought as humans we are more superior, as people were quoting the book, that those wrote the book just to suppress the creation. So they will say you must eat this and eat that, but we Rastas will stay before the book, where the creation said fruits and grain and all these things for us to eat. That's why if we utilize the land, if we use the land to plow the land, there will be plenty of food, you see. All those formations that the Rastaman is talking about, it is from creation. But this one of animal, that's why I've got so much diseases. I've got so much artificial things because people, they just want to feed themselves. So Rasta is a movement that is structured, is a movement that is focused, it's a movement that is black love. It is mostly black love because it started by the black people, but as it started by the black people, we don't want to discriminate those that wants to live with us. So that's why a white man can also be Rasta, but he can't lead the movement of Rasta because I and I, Africans, are Rasta true from creation and without apology. So that's how Rasta is.
Okay, since you mentioned that you Rastafarians, you don't kill.
Yes.
And you don't have the weapons to kill.
Yes.
So you don't eat meat.
Not at all. Anything that moves, in terms of leave it. That's why when you see something, whether it's a snake, it runs away, or it's saving its life, whether it's a chicken, it runs away, it's saving its life. So we don't feel like, we need to take a life for us to eat. But our wisdom, that is our wisdom. But others, they've got their own ways that they see their wisdom. I don't know how they connect their wisdom, but they will say, God said this. But I don't want to quote along those levels of God said this, because I don't think I'll be right along those levels. But I'll say the wisdom that connects me with God, it shows that it should be like this. So then we take it along those levels, that we have to live clean. We have to be along the levels of not being capitalist. The Rastaman is not a capitalist. The Rastaman is not a bling bling. And the Rastaman is not a capitalist. Him is a king. Means the Rastaman must not suffer. You see. Whether Rastaman, he must always stay humble because he is the king. And most Rastas, you see, he's a Rastaman. You ask himself, you are the king of who now? Because if you're a king, you must have your people. Mm-hmm. So now, as the Rasta, our people are our people are our people. So we look upon our people. That's why anything that we do, we look upon first the black people, which is the black race. Because we believe once the black race is into a level where they are also human like any other humans, that will be the first step of creation. Because even other creations, they did not believe that the Africans are also humans. As still, the humans don't believe that the animals still, they live to exist to be not eaten or be killed. So it's just another cycle that we are in the struggle here, because we've been fighting this one, trying to show the other races that we are humans also as Africans. And still, as Rastaman, we still see that even animals, we need to fight their struggles, that they must be recognized that they are also part of the living. And for us to continue is to plow and to utilize the land. So Rasta is a great movement, and again, along the levels of the herb, because there is the herb, which is the ganja, which is what I'm carrying here. This is for the enlightenment of the mind. It lightens your mind. I'll light it up as we move on. Once things I see my level is getting down of my wisdom, I'll have to take the herb and take it up. So, when you take a herb, it's a herb. I remember before we started this, when you said, why is it most Rastas are crazy that smoke the herb? It's not Rastas. It's the individuals, people that had their own intentions of taking up the ganja. And one, they didn't know why are they taking the ganja. Because when you're taking a herb, you must know why are you taking something. You must know why are you healing yourself. So it is the healing of the nation in terms of the mind, in terms of the thinking, so that in this time or in this system where it's created by the wicked people, where our minds are always disturbed by things that are happening, we need to stand tall. We need to stand strong. Then how do you stand strong? You must be in a sober way. You don't mix it with alcohol. So most of the people, they come, they take their alcohol, mix it up with the ganja. They take cigarette, mix it up with the ganja. And you know what comes? They say, that one, ganja in Sangozak. You know why? Because they just want to disgrade the Rastaman. But the Rastaman, he knows that his story is true. Because then they always come with their stories that are lie. Like as it is now, there is a license, which is a lie system. They want the Rastaman that has been dealing with the herb, the Rastaman that has been smoking the herb from long time now. You see, the white man comes, tells the black man, you see, Mr. Policeman and your friends, this is the herb, this thing heals. You know what they do? They jump, all of them. They clap hands. Yeah, they are happy. And now they say, you need a license to sell, or you need a license or to farm. And then we check it, the system as a Rastaman, and say, this is a wicked system. When the Rastaman was saying this is a herb, and when the Rastaman was planting in the farms there, they had to fight the Rastaman and put him in jail because they say him is a farmer. You see. So then the Rastaman, he left the farm he started dealing with the ganja. You know what? They follow the Rasta man. They say, him is a dealer now. They started fighting the Rasta man again, saying him is a dealer. So the Rasta man is in trouble. Today the white man comes and it's free. The Rasta man is not in the farm now. The Rasta man is not in this, and the Rasta man must go and ask for a license from the white man that he must farm it. So those are the things that hate, it hate deep. But as Rastas, we keep strong, we keep the vision of the movement, which is not just the help. Them, they can do whatever they are with the help, whether it's capitalism, they will get the money, and the money that they will get is going to destroy them. Because why? They have the vision of our people. So Rasta is very broad, and Rasta is for all the people, and Rasta is connected again with the people from Jamaica. That's why our music mostly is influenced by Jamaicans. You know why? The reason why it's influenced by Jamaicans, because most of those people are people that went abroad from Africa. They were stolen from Africa, means they were forcefully taken away from Africa, chained. They didn't want to go there. They were chained and forced. And when they got there, they were used in the farms and all these things, But when they got there, they said, no, we're not going to change our identity. We're also going to remain preaching about who we are, where we come from. That's why they started singing about Africa. They started singing about repatriation is a must. They started looking upon Africa. And now, as they were looking upon Africa, because they wanted to come back to Africa, but they didn't know where to go because they went there a long time. They can't remember whether it's from Nigeria, whether it's from Zim, whether it's from Congo. But His Majesty now, His Imperial Majesty Selassie from Ethiopia, he gave the people abroad a land in Shashamane where he said, all those that wants to come back home, they must come and utilize the land. They must come and farm the land. But now, unfortunately, Jamaica also now, they've got their all these other systems now of more capitalist and all these things that are slackness. So then they introduce all those other things there. Then now you see the relationship becomes a little bit bad. Yes.
Okay, so with kids,
Yes.
so when do the kids start smoking ganja? From what age, if they are allowed to smoke?
Okay. Because we don't force our ganja to our kids. But as it is the healing of the nation, when I'm smoking my herb, even if the baby is there, there is no problem. It doesn't harm the baby. And for you to test that it doesn't harm the baby, like, let's say you're in your car, you're smoking your ganja, whether the windows are closed, you'll manage to breathe there. There's nothing that will even happen to the baby or even anyone. It shows that the herb is clean. But if you put up a cigarette and close all the windows, I'm telling you, you find the baby is dead. But this is a herb, so we can't say smoke like this, but indirectly, they will be also getting the herb until the right time when they see that it is the time for them to do it on their own. So, but it's not something that when I'm smoking, I must run away as if I'm taking a drugs. No, you're not taking drugs, and you don't want to be classified under those levels of drugs because it's a herb. It heals. It was even from creation.
Okay.
Yes.
So do Rastafarians read Bible, and can they be sangomas?
Thank you. It's a good question. The Bible is a book like any other book. You can read a book about America. You can read a book about Africa. You can read a book about crime. So, as a Rastaman is also human, you can read the book, but you cannot live by the book. You can read the book, but you cannot live by the book. You must live by wisdom, knowledge. Knowledge is what you're going to get from the book because you're learning, so you're going to get the knowledge from the book. But you must also use your wisdom. Then in terms of church, Rasta is not a church, like I've said. It's not a church. But along the way, because we've got people that they grew up from a churchical family, and they've been loving reggae music, they love the live it of Rasta, and they feel in their spiritual ways that they want to involve it. So some they're making it as a church, but Rasta is not a church. Yeah, but there are people that go to church, but Rasta itself is not a church. It is the movement of Jah people. Reading a book doesn't mean you must just live by that book, was written by other creations that were created by Almighty. We are also part of that creation, so we must also write our own books.
Christianity, they've got a Bible.
Yes.
With the Muslim, they've got the Quran.
Yes.
So, how do you guys teach your kids? How do your kids learn about the Rastafari? Because there's no book about you guys.
Yes, our book is written by us. Means we are the book, is our live it. Like I've said that, let your works be seen. So as our works are seen, is also the book that is written. They see what is done. And we also have books because Rastas, Rastas are highly schooled people, very intelligent, because what them did is they went to those structures of the white where they created their structures, and then they got the information. And after getting that information, then they take the information and use it for their own sake. They are very different from these others that have been offered the master's certificate and all these other kinds that are not Rasta. Because what happens to them, they get into the system and got caught up into the system, and then they become the oppressors of our people. See, that's the difference. I don't know whether you have answered, but I'm still here to answer all the questions. Yes.
Okay. So, when you're talking about ganja, you mentioned that it is a medicine. So this is ganja now that you're smoking.
Yes, this is the healing of the nation. So I'm healing up myself. I'm expecting more questions, and I want more questions, and the questions will be answered. And definitely, it is the herb. As I'm healing myself, I'm getting myself ready to all the questions and to all the things that people want to know. Because I'm a Rasta, I live Rasta. So when you ask me about Rasta, yes, I'll tell you about Rasta.
Okay.
Yes.
So, do you have to like specifically smoke ganja? There is cocaine and there are other cigarettes. Do you like specifically smoke ganja? Nothing else.
All these man-made things and decisions that are made by men, are also distraction. The herb is from the creation, from the creator. So we don't mix it with any of these other things like cigarette. That is, with the cigarette, it's the white man's system. It's like all these alcohol beers. Now, they give you a job to go and work, and they find, now this guy is still on savings. Now you've got the job, but how can you get the money back? So they find the ways that they must give you the cigarette that kills you. They study your body. Once they study your body, they say that now if he drinks this is how he's going to behave. So that's why most of the people that drink, after drinking, their behavior is very different. They start doing things that they don't do when they are not drunk. So it's the system that has been checked. So Rastaman doesn't take all these man-made things, and we refrain from all these man-made decisions because sometimes they are made.
Okay, so when you're sick, do you go to the clinic?
Okay, it's a good question. We accept that when you're sick, you can, if you know that you're going to the right space, but most we use the herbs, because we believe the healing also our roots. We can use our roots of the trees, you can use your leaves. There's so much things that are medical. But now to avoid to be not talking about those hospitals and all these other things, that's why we talk about our food. When you talk about your food, now your food will take care of your health. As long as you follow your food and you take care of the work and you exercise. So, and the herb, I think the doctor will be something of another story. Plus also, away from being humanized and all these things, you must be royal. Like I said, Rasta is kings and queens. As royal, me as a Rasta man, I don't have a problem like having two women, as a Rasta man having whatever. But you must be in that level you don't make people suffer. You must be in a level where the family that they own it's happy. So as long as the family is happy, we don't have a problem with that. So we are in those levels of roots and culture. Siphila ngokuthi roots and culture. Once you roots and culture, we're taking everything that is right. That's why, as a Rasta man, I must link up with the Rasta from Ghana, regardless of his tribe. As long as he left his tribe and he became Rasta, we must be one thing. So, see, we plan along those levels that we must be universal.
Okay. What kind of food do you eat?
Okay, because I cannot like mention like one. It's easily fruits, nama grains, and things that you plant. It's so many things that you can eat. And cooking, it's what I love about cooking. Me, I'm good at cooking. Ngiyathanda ukupheka, especially mangiphekela abantu abaningi. Ngiyathanda ukuthi maybe you told abantu babo there's these veggies and they think this is boring food. And then I just turn all those things into something because those things are good. Just play around, be creative around them. You'll always be surprised every time when you eat. You say, this is good food. And every day when I cook myself for my own food, there's a time that I never say, this is nice food. I always enjoy my food because I know what's needed on the fruits and grains and all this stuff. That's it.
Okay. Can you tell us about the colors, the Rastafarian colors?
Oh, yeah. Yes, nice one. Okay, the Rasta colors, like I've said, it is a movement and it is a revolutionary movement, a movement that is fighting the oppression. And the oppression, any man, white man, black man, can be an oppressor. So here we're fighting the colors of those. That is the red, gold, and green. So the red, gold, and green checks along, it accepts all the people, as long as you come with love. That is Rasta. So Rasta is in two levels, like I'm trying to explain that there's red, there's gold, and green. So it represents those levels, it represents the people that accept all the people. As long as you accept that our king is King Selassie from Ethiopia, as long as you accept that he is your king, then we accept you. We live with love. As long as you respect the African people and love the African people, then we accept you and live with you in Africa. That is red, gold, and green. Then we've got red, black, and green, which is still the same in the movement of Rasta. But that one, the red, okay, let me go back to the red, gold, and green. The red represents the blood that is shed by the African people for their liberation. Then the gold represents the richness that we have in our resources as Africans. Regardless of how much you suffer outside there, when you see yourself as an African suffering, you must ask yourself what makes you suffer, because Africa is a rich continent. Then it's when you realize that, we are rich, so something is happening. Somebody's looting, somebody's doing something wrong. Then you become a Rastaman and you revolt against the system that is evil. Because Rastaman, we are fighting against the system that is evil, but we're not political. We're not along those levels. So then we've got green. Green is our trees. That means we are rich, we've got our beautiful trees, our nature. It means we must take care of that nature. That is what is always saying, that we must remember that we must take care of our nature. Everything, our animals and all these things, we must take care. But if you check in this year time, because of the capitalist system, you know what happens? They move the mountain. If there was a mountain here, they come with their detector. These Chinese guys, they've got lots of money in the equipment. They just detect here there's a big mountain and they find that there's gold. They move the mountain, it's gone. Tomorrow there's no mountain. So those are the things that we need to preserve because it's part of nature. Then we go to red, black, and green. Red is still for the same blood. Yes. Then black now, it's more on the conscious of the black dignity. It's more of the black race, where somebody chooses that if you rather say I'm a racist, by saying my race comes first in me, then you're not dealing. It's the ones that are saying we want to uplift the black man, that talks more about the black man. That is from Marcus Garvey. So that one comes from Marcus Garvey from Jamaica. He had a vision that he wanted also to repatriate, and he had lots of following, he had lots of businesses that he was doing. So we look upon him again as the Black Star Liner, like you see Ghana. Ghana is the Black Star Liner. They come from the Black Star Liner, which was the ship that was supposed to bring the Africans here. That's why when you look at most of the African flags, they've got red, gold, and green. So it was all along the movement of Rasta. And when you look, when the organization of the African unit it was founded, Ghana and in Ethiopia. So His Majesty, so they made it happen. It was the organization of the African unity to unite our people. But along the way, because our leaders of today, they always want them to be seen. How do they want to be seen? They want to destroy the names of the past. Like now they say it's an AU, which is African Unity. What makes you change from the old day? Because we're still organizing. Because they want you to forget about His Majesty. They want you to not talk about those works that the Majesty has been doing along the African continent. They want you to look at them now at their time that there is African this unit. So the next one also we're going to destroy and say you change it to another name so that we know that him also was there. So it's a very crucial situation, especially with the African leaders. But let's hope they will see the Rastaman is stepping up, washing up there over the organization of the African unity in Addis Ababa. We side with their certificate and their masters doing as their master says. And we say one day the Rastaman will be in the seat of his father. And the Rastaman will be doing things for the African people without war, where there will be peace, unity, and live it, and people will enjoy what life is when the Rastaman is there. And it must be the original Rasta that knows the live it of Rasta from His Imperial Majesty. Hail him, Selassie the First, Jah Rastafari, ever living and ever faithful. So you got to be faithful to be alone in that seat. Rastafari is a might. Yeah.
Okay, so as a Rastafarian, let's say as like parents, ne, you are both Rastafarians, and the child also is a Rastafarian. So ingane ma, like when the child is now going to school, doesn't like the fact that he's a Rastafarian going to kids who have different culture, doesn't his culture affect him?
That's why sometimes they get strong. But if it was our way, but we still have a vision, but because the system is always fighting anything that the Rastaman is doing. And the Rastaman is in the struggle at this time, so that we find most Rastas they don't have women, because women they don't want the live it that is like more like Inatia Safari. But we are not suffering. We are in the state where you want to live the real life. When you want to live the real life, when they will come with that system, bling bling. So when you have your kids, it's a challenge. When this one, but now tricky because they are mixed up with other things also that influences them. So it becomes a challenge. That's why movement Rasta it's not growing according to the way, but people are conscious because everywhere we go, people they know what Rasta is, but they are failing to commit themselves to the limit of Rasta. Why? Because of the capitalist system where people they say no, now it's just about money now. All that love and hunger they need to disappear. But so they go to any school, but you must also have your teachings at home, which even if maybe cooler, at least they will know, they will choose. Yes, this time is this time. Yes.
Okay, so as the Rastafarian people, do you have like your own type of music that you'd like to listen to?
Yes. Reggae music is for the kids and queens. Yes, with the reggae music, reggae music is the roots music, it is the music for the people, like I've said, that is for the kings. It's not for all the people. Some they cannot listen to it because it's for the kings. You've got to be royal to listen to it. It talks about our lives. Sometimes it brought. When we talk of the roots, we're talking of the music that talks for our people. That talks and represents our people. That is roots. It's not influenced by anything. Those are hardcore. That's where I stayed. Then as we move, we've got different, now we've got disco, we've got dancehall, we've got all this until this slackness. When I talk of the slackness, I talk of things that are dirty. Where you find the Rastas now, they are drinking alcohol, you see it's busy doing all these stupid things. I would say stupid things because they don't make sense, we don't do it. And when you tell them that Rastaman is, don't judge me, hey. Rastaman is a stepping razor. Judge yourself. If you're doing what is wrong and you're told that is wrong and you feel judged, you kept fit, let them wear it. So you fit there, put up your cap and it's your cap, that's how much it means.
So, as a Rastaman, you just told us about the way you guys live and the way you guys prefer to follow your culture. So, how does it make you personally feel when you see someone who claims to be a Rasta but does things that go against the rules of the yes?
Okay, yes, nice question. You know, this is how we do it because the biggest man you ever seen was once a baby. So in this term, even myself, I didn't grow up as a Rasta man. I grew up from a family where we used to slaughter things, we eat and all this and this and this and this and that. But along the movement, my commitment, it got up to the highest level. So those ones that are not in those levels now, we just wish them that Jah guides them, until give them strength, like we have that strength, until then also they reach the levels of the highest level where they live according to Rasta. And also what I love with Tina as Rastas, we as Rastas, we don't say, you are not Rasta, you're not even Rasta. No, I love that, the people that are not Rastas, the people that are bald head, that they say this one is a bald man, is the man that knows more about Rasta. But him is so that he cannot commit, his level of commitment of Rasta is not up to that level. So he stayed in his levels of that level. But if you commit yourself, have dreadlocks, look like Rasta, and you do things that are not Rasta, people will ask you, there's no Rasta. Because Rastas don't exist. So I say big up to the people outside there that they see these Rastas that are still doing things that Rasta Mayenzi. Remind them what Rasta Mayenzi going to work for. The Rasta man doesn't do this, so humble yourself. Commit yourself to the liberty of Rasta and be Rasta. So it gets you right.
Okay, so as Rastafarian people, are you allowed to drink alcohol or you don't drink, or there is a specific alcohol that you drink?
Alcohol, with alcohol you stumble and you fall. So as a king and as a royal family, those levels of being drunk and the drunkard, it's not part of the movement. So it's not part of our doing. We don't do that. Rastaman doesn't drink alcohol. Rastaman must be sober-minded. He must be along those levels that he still remains in the space of being a king. So when you're a king, you must expect people to be coming to the king at any time. But if you find the king is drunk, maybe still we can go to the book, like I said, that the Rastaman reads the book. I think there is other things and things in the book of the Bible where what happens to the kings. So it's also part of the writings of what happens. So we're not part of that.
Okay, so you don't drink.
We don't drink.
But as a Rastafarian, you do associate with people who are not Rastafarians.
The Rastaman and woman are the kings and queens of the people. So who are the people? It's our people who are not Rastas.
Okay.
But that's why even when I move out, they say, king man, yeah, my king. Because it's not that they are joking when they say I'm their king when I meet them outside there. I'm the king. So I must live into those levels of the king as a Rastaman. Yeah.
Okay.
So we meet with the people.
So since you don't drink, but you associate with people who are not Rastafarians,
Yes.
as the king, right?
Yes.
You do go out and in this life that we live, people go out to have fun. So when you're having fun with people who drink and you are not allowed to drink, your culture, your religion, I don't know, doesn't allow you to drink. What do you do? Don't you get tempted?
I think most of the Rastas, wherever they go, it's reggae music that will be playing because they don't play like any other music. That is not reggae music. So when the Rastaman is with the people that love reggae music and play reggae music, he's gonna be there with the people that love the music and play the music and chill up with the people of the music. But what they do and drink and all these other things that they do, it's not part of our doings and we will not do it. But because the music brings us together, then we'll be together along those levels of the musical vision. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying no matter where you go with people,
Yes.
you don't drink, you
Yes.
don't get tempted, even if you see meat, since you said you don't eat meat.
As a Rastaman, still I myself, I come from a family that is not that also believe in those levels, of their levels. So when what they do, whether they slaughter their things, their animals, and do their things, I'm not there to judge and say, oh, this is wrong and this. No, I stay, just keep my space because I don't eat what they eat. And they know that I'm Rasta and I live Rasta. They respect my living of Rasta. And I respect their way of life, So meaning that we have to connect with the people. But connecting with them doesn't mean we have to do what they do.
Okay, so as a Rasta person, you have rules and laws. How does your rules and laws affect you when you are with associating with people who are not Rastafarians?
You know what I love about Rasta is it's not like all these other where they go out and knock and say, come and join our churches like this, come and join this and this and this, But now, as a Rastaman, you commit yourself, you get yourself to the movement. You must know what it means so that when you get into it, you can't be distracted by things that you know that these ones you don't do. So that's why if you're not highly committed to the Leave It of Rasta, better be on the levels of not Rasta until you are fully committed to the Rasta movement. Yes.
Okay, since you mentioned that the family where you come from, they are not Rasta people, but you are a Rastafarian. So how do they take it? Like, since they are not Rastas, but you are Rasta, how do they treat you, like the family?
Okay. From my youth times, I remember from my youth times when I was still young, we used to smoke, take up the hemp. And that time we were just a black sheep. Even when we were just growing up, we'll have this feel that we are Rastas. Even at work now, you start to look for work, you'll be given some instructions of what to do. But along the time, as you mature and stand on your own, and let your works be seen, your doings, because mostly it's your doings. When they see what you do when you smoke, you're just good, you're just humble, you just do things that are right, you live with the people. People will accept you. And people will start to know, no, that Rastaman is different from that Rastaman. So people will accept you. But first, you're going to have lots of challenges from families. You're going to have lots of challenges from work. That's why most of the time, the Rastaman doesn't work, where you go and for a white man and say, sorry, say I'm late, and all these things, good morning, and all these other things and things. No. Why? The reason is because that time when you go to those spaces, they'll tell you, Rastaman, you see your beard, if maybe you just shave it a little bit here, then you start to shave it. They say, I see Rastaman, your dread is too nutty, dreadlock. Just cut it a little bit here, you cut it. Until you finish with all the story. Once you finish with your story of being Rasta, you are fired. The job is not there for you anymore. Why? Because they just want to control you. They just want to shape you to what they want you to be. But the Rastaman, you refuse to be along those levels. That's why we are creative. You've got to create your own things. You've got to do your own things. You've got to find ways of survival, which is more militantly styled because it's not easy out there if you're Rasta. But we're living, through the powers of the Most High because we are Jah people. Yes.
Okay, so being a Rasta, it's also not an easy thing because there are challenges. Like you're saying, finding a job is also not easy because you might find out that no one wants a Rasta, like where you go for an interview and because you are a Rastafarian and there's someone who's not a Rastafarian but you have the qualifications but they don't hire you. So it means that being a Rastafarian, you can also like have less of job opportunities.
Which is good. Which is good. Sometimes when you look at it, you look at, these guys, they make them suffer. Suffering brings wisdom. In those levels, it means you are a king. You can't be looking for a job. Rather just try to find ways and create something and have a job. Create it. At least do something. You are a king. So a king can't be you go to look for a job. They tell this and this and this. It's either what you can do, you must work for yourself, whether you're painting, whether you're playing music, whether you're doing whatever, whether clothing. So that whoever comes to you and say, okay, Rastaman, I want you to paint me this thing. I say, oh, you want me to do this thing? Okay, then it's going to be so much. We agree along those levels. If you don't accept it, thank you, bye-bye. It's just like that. We don't need to be on the levels of where it's like you're controlled as a king. So it's a royal movement. So you've got to be along those levels. So it's not easy. Why? Most of our people, that's why I said there are few women in the movement of Rasta, because most of our people are schooled. I think there is a word for what they call this, but now it just ran away from me. So most people are academically, that's what they say, means academically, means which is good. They worked along those levels of where they've learned that now they are qualified, they need to find somebody that have created that space for them to fit. And once there is no space for them to fit, they look for the master, and all of them, they end up going abroad where the master is so that they will fit into the structures of the masters. But we were expecting that those people with the masters things, they'll take those masters things and reverse them and not move away and create things for the people here. So that is a different vibe. Rastaman said he was just going to remain where he is and rather not have that master. No matter how they try to force him out of the way, because him is natural and pure, you cannot change the creation. It will remain the way it is. As they've been trying to say that men can sleep with a man as with like a woman, which is another story. Those are man-made decisions. But when you're talking of reality from creation, there's no sense in that thing, and we don't need to debate about those things. But because when the master says this, and those that have been trained by the master, they follow everything until the master, maybe after a long time, sees that this thing was wrong and says, no, this thing was wrong. They clap the hands for the master. So that's the situation that makes the movement not easy, because it's refusing to bow from the master's decisions of oppression. So we're saying we are who we are. We need to survive because we believe there's a reason of our existence as Africans still, like any other nations, So yeah, we are in the struggle. Like a Rasta man, I love the Rasta movement because it's always on the hit, But now I see most of the Rastas, they are busy just taking it like dancing and, either they've achieved whatever they have achieved. But then I look at them that the king is dancing, but the people are starving. What's the use? He's a useless king. So I'm a king.
So as a Rastafarian, and you coming from a background where like your family was not Rastafarian, have you never felt like resisting, like pulling back from being a Rasta? Like, no, my family, they are not Rastafarian. Why am I doing this? Why am I following this when I grew up in a background where they don't do it? Does it not like come to you?
I love the unique of from so many they being one thing and you come of your own. So it is the unique, it is the representation that represent who I am, and I should be different from others. So I'm just happy that they accepted who I am, because there was no turning back. I was gonna still be Rastaman as the Rastaman, and if it means being alone and being rejected, I accept that because it's the black sheep. When you are a black sheep, you see everything, you are pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes 99% of the people can be wrong, and the 1% they crush him and kill him, saying he's wrong. But the right part, if he was right, at the end, the other one will see that one was right, and it's going to just remain that. So I don't see any looking back as a Rastaman, because I've been from my youth, from school. I remember a story at school where I was attending there. One time, our school used to do assembly after school, but we came in the morning, so we were supposed to do the assembly late. So we ran away. As we were running away from school, then the principal, then he saw that people ran away, so he calls the teachers and says, go and re-register, do the registering and see who was there and who's not there. And I was not there, so we were called in the office of the teacher. Then we were punished and given to clear the fire guard. So that time, I was just starting to Rasta. I had my dreadlock, I do my dreadlock and hide it here in my hand, just hide. So now we're standing there, we've done our punishment. Then the teacher says, because my name is Leto Tun, he says to these other kids, can you tell us what is the difference here between you and Leto Tun? The other one said, he didn't tuck his shirt. No, I just take my shirt. Then the other one said, it's got dreadlock. Yeah. Then he says to me, go and cut your hair. I went there, I just trimmed. Then he said, go back again and shave. I shave and it become the bald head. calls me in front of the assembly and say, "You see how this one looks now," and he made sure of me. But at the end of the day, I became Rasta, so that's how it was. That we started from long time being Rastas, and we are even Rastas today.
So your kids, are they also Rastas or?
Okay, my personal
Your
kids now, it's a different vibe now. Because the vibe was the different vibe where the mother was not in the levels of the movement of Rasta. So there was that confusion where there's churchical version of the Christianity and my visions. But always the mother has the power all the time, so they became what they became. But I'm still holding it tight in the movement of Rasta, being conscious and knowing what is it for and its reason of its existence.
Okay, so with ganja,
Yes.
I can see it smells different from what other people like are smoking. Like, so are there different types of ganjas, or
How different
and where
is
do you
this?
get it? Do you like plant it, or you have a personal person that you trust
Okay.
who supplies it, or how do you get it?
Okay, in terms of the smell, what difference did you find, like yourself? What difference? Because I need to know what difference you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay,
In
with
terms
what
of the
I've
smell.
heard, what I've like heard
Yeah.
like before,
Yeah.
like sometimes there's this weird smell that smells like, that smell, but this one doesn't smell bad,
Yeah.
but it's just strong, and the smoke keeps on coming. I don't know if it keeps on coming until it finishes, because it's very, very strong.
Okay, yeah. What others do is they add up cigarette, others they add up nyaope, others they add up whatever they add because now they want it to be drugs. Those are the people that take drugs, alcohol, and all these things, because they don't believe the herb its own has got the capacity to help them. But we, as the Rasta people, it's a herb, it heals us, so we take it just that natural. Only it needs to be grown in a proper way where it's given time that it must grow. Okay, where we get it? They say, tell me where you get it.
Yes.
Okay, I get it from the farmers.
From the farmers.
And the farmers, yes. It's nice now because even yourself, even myself, I can just farm a small thing. But we get it from the farmers, and bless the righteous. And when you're smoking the herb, it's always like there is a short prayer that we do. Like when I light it, I just say, bless the righteous.
Okay.
It means, Jah bless the righteous. Then you burn the wicked. So
Okay.
bless the righteous
And bend the
and
wicked.
burn the wicked. So what we are doing is, as we take the herb, it's the healing. Like now I'm blessing the righteous. Everything that is righteous within this space is going to be blessed. And the wicked is going to be burnt away. So that's how it is, the healing. So it heals in different ways. Like as you see, the smoke is doing its own thing around here. So all these evil forces, they will be moved away. We don't need no magic. We don't need no anything. We just need the herb, and you don't need to add anything to it. If you are coughing, you can take the leaves and just drink them herbal. It can do lots of things. It can do fabric. It can do so many things. Yes, bless the righteous.
Okay.
So be blessed in this your time. I hope my herb will also bless you.
Yeah, hopefully. So you're saying this weed, it is strong to an extent that whatever evil force is around gets bent. It runs away. That is how strong it is.
Yes.
Okay, and it also heals. It can also work as a medicine
Yes.
when you're not feeling well.
And also, some, they use it like, with the herb is the mind power. Like I'll tell you, it's the mind power. When you use the herb, that's why you must be clean. Means you must be clean. You must not mix so many things. Because it is the mind power. It empowers you in most things that you want to do. Let's say you're doing whatever you're doing and you're taking the herb. I'm telling you, it's going to give you so much power. It's going to just take. That's why most of the people see they're doing crime. They take the herb in focus, it gives them the focus. So now you must not take the herb in a negativity mind. Your mind must be clean. Your mind must be strong. Your mind must be focused. Your mind must be vision. Kumele ube ne-vision ukuthi what is your reason of your existence. Because most of the time, if you find the reason of your existence, you will exist because you will be existing for that reason. Yes.
Also, you're not supposed to take this thing, let's say maybe like you see those people commit crimes.
Yes.
They're not supposed to take it because
Yes, because it's going to influence them more. That's why, like somebody when he's sick and doesn't eat or he doesn't eat, we take the herb with the vision that he's a man's who's a tando. Just wants to touch the herb. But if you find yourself you're taking the herb, then now you feel like you're hungry. Every time you take the herb, you want to sleep, you want to all this. It means don't heal yourself because you don't know what are you healing.
okay.
You see, don't heal yourself because you don't know what are you healing. So just leave the herb. You must take it for the right cause, then it's going to work for the right cause because it's going to empower your mind. Awungeke udinge like, I can sit up with the professor here and we discuss to the levels of the highest level, even of his masters. He can quote all lots of the books because I know him is going to try, which maybe I'm going to and him has read so many books. But me, I won't be dealing about books. I'll be dealing about the way of life, which is the way that we've been moving through continuously. We learn from life. So, why? Because of the wisdom that I get from the air. Young empowered, which I can stand up to all those levels. Even with the president, there's reason with him. You see, because my mind is into that state, that and in a vision. And in when I'm with him, president, what am I going to talk to him? Yes, I know, I'm going to say something. And he must respond, and we're going to be talking that something. And that something will be making sense. Because Ayman is a king still, is a Rasta man, so we must be along those levels, yes.
Okay. So for the ganja,
Yes.
is it only for the Rastafarians or anyone can smoke it?
When it comes to the capitalist system, it's supposed to be the Rasta man that is providing it because him has been just dealing with it and wanting to heal the people. But it is the healing of the people, so we cannot stop the people from being healed and say, it was me, Rastaman, that is supposed to heal you. So if them, because they want to attend to our people in that format, Tina will not, because as Rastas, we are not just by the ganja, but we are a movement. As they take away the ganja and do other things and make money from it, even our own people will make money, but we'll still empower our people in the vision of unity, in the vision of loving Africa and ourselves. Then the whole world will be free. Because we are not free, we are scattered all over as Africans. So that is the Rastaman's responsibility. He makes it a point that our people are united and we become one. So it's not about ganja, but ganja is the power to the vision from His Imperial Majesty and the charter member of the organization, which is Ghana. Yes.
Okay. So my viewers, what do you say about the ganja? Like, what do you have to say about the fact that Lana Ubudle Tuktula is saying ganja can be smoked by anyone and it is very strong, but don't take it mawucabanga into engayisiyo. What do you have to say about that? And also, what are your views? What are your nitini about Rastafarian culture and with what he's been saying so far? Okay, back to you. So, all right. Like, you see in psych whites, like enhlangeni, why is it that most kugcwele abantu abangamarasta?
Okay, first I'll ngizosebenzisa kakhulu the name as a Rasta man. Lethu kuthula ile ama parents lethu you see it's a
Okay.
yeah, it's King Jah Roots,
Oh,
Africa.
King Jah.
King Jah.
Okay.
King Jah.
King Jah
Roots,
Roots,
Africa.
Africa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm about to say Africa. Okay. Like I've said before creation, there was no scissors. And when you move around, you find that most of our people that are suffering, and they just let their hair grow that way. And most of those people are people that are suffering, that at the end of the day they become insane. And when those people are found suffering along those levels, and their representation or their look now looks like Rasta, then everyone's, why are we not Rasta manning in that space? It's not Rastas, it's our people that are suffering, because vele angithi abakhona ukuthi they are suffering. That's why bagcine sebehlala in the streets. They don't have bath, they look dirty, and that's how they look. But Rasta, like knowing himself, as we say that he is a king, wherever he is, he can be not in those levels. Unless anything happens to him, but him, I know, which along the levels of the mind is of the sound mind. So, but anything can happen to anyone mentally. But most of the people that you see are people that are suffering, are people that, life is hard for them outside. They're moving around the street, they don't know where to sleep. They become that condition. And now they've got the dreadlocks, and people, they say, look at that Rasta man. But me as a Rasta man, I see that, my people, they savage. It's sad, And these guys, wow, 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 wow. They want to be seen. Then we should, when the time comes whereby the president can just walk in the street and say, Mr. President, the president is protected by the people, it's when it's the time that we see that there's peace. But now in this year time where there's lots of monies and everybody wants it, there's enough for one and all, but most they keep it. So Rasta is along those levels. Abantu bangathi maybe Rasta uyakhala ukuthi akakhala uRasta ukhalela abantu Rasta. Him is a king. Akabhekanga yena kuphela. That's why he's always going to be talking for the people. And when uthi izinto zenzakala kahle, because him is talking for the people, mawuthi izinto zenzakala kahle, we'll even sing about you, what you're doing, because we do that, because we are watching. That's why we're musicians still. That's why we sing upon sikhuluma ngabo bona labo abantu bakithi abasiza abantu in our music, and love, because love is the answer.
Okay, so I noticed some of them, like, they keep their dreadlocks like so long to the extent that manje selfika like somewhere, like they now reach my feet. So you're not allowed to even trim your, like, once in a while someone has to trim the hair, like just a small trim.
The system started in that same small trim. When you're looking for service, a small trim, just Rasta, but just you look nice until the trim is you off from wherever. No, you let yourself be the flower. You're just like a flower flourishing the way that Jah wants us to flourish. So it's a flower. You just let your dreadlocks grow. Just you're not worried about it. It's just the way it's your crown is there. It's gonna grow. If it goes long, it's long. It goes, but you have your crown, because that's what it means. When I travel, that's why I love it. Whenever I go, most of the places, really, Abangus, Rasta man, Rasta, my king. I'm talking of even apparently of Ekaya, like South Africa. Mm-hmm. So it's a crown. Yeah.
Okay, since like a crown, you have to keep it clean. There are these Rasta men, sometimes they no longer wash their hair.
Yes.
Sebebukeka like dirty, like they no longer, because you're saying it's your crown.
Yes.
And as a crown, you must clean your crown. Well, they no longer clean their crowns. Why?
Okay, thank you. The Rasta man is from, like I said, is from the black sheep. Black sheep meaning what you must have Rasta. You're smoking your ganja, your parents sometimes they're not helping you. Abantu ngaphandle here, vela basina ndawa nawe, and you've got no place sometimes where you together, but you'll be knowing who you are. So you understand with what they say about you, your deity, as long as they are not helping you, it's just their story, and let it be their story. That is just a story.
So I'm curious about the patterns of the Rastafarian clothes.
Yes.
Do they have a certain meaning, or it's just a design that someone comes up with and decides, I'm mixing this color and this color to have such a pattern, or you guys have specific patterns that have specific meanings?
Okay. Thank you for that question. It's a good question. Yathanda my question I've got. It's like I'm receiving good questions, and I guess I'm giving good answers. Okay, in terms of fashion, because I'm a fashion designer, but most urasta vele uthanda ukuthi ayenze into ehlukile
From other
from
people.
others. So you must be unique. You must represent, because like I said, it's royal. So like me, on my side, I design, but most of the Rastas vele banemsebenzi yezandla. Say the omunye uyenza this and this, so we design most of our things. Yes.
Okay, so do you like when you're wearing, like you're saying, since impahla zenu has got a meaning. So like your daily life, do you actually always have to wear your colors, or you can just wear any color?
For me now, I feel comfortable with the reflection of my colors because that's who I am. So ngiyathanda ukuba kuleso space ukuthi ngibe kuma colors ami, yeah, I would say. So but so different now ukuthi, like I've said, the commitment of yourself to Rasta and ukuthi ufuna ukubonakala what levels of
Yes.
Rasta. But myself, that's why I want this one. I designed myself in Africa, so means it's more Africa red in the colors, and this one also my colors of the Rasta kanjalo nje along those levels. Yeah.
Okay, and I noticed you like wearing like bangles,
Oh, yes,
like in the
and the
yes,
okay.
all of your accessories they are just Rasta coloring.
Yes, and they are usually a Rasta color and also mixed with African tradition, because Rasta is roots and culture. Means what is we are from the cultures away to there, but still we've got our movement which is Rasta. But mostly the colors is red, gold, and green, then black that represent the black people, like red, gold, and green. See, these are just my colors for Africa, and like those colors are put out the hamster.
Yeah.
So means I touch up there. Then these ones red, gold, and green, more like Rasta. This one is just normal, just being creation. So we
But
mix
still
up with
green.
the artwork. Yes, still militant. So it must be along those levels.
It needs to blend.
Blend not as in bling.
It not bling, but
Yeah,
you mean
but
like
yeah, it
this
needs to
one.
be, yes. Like when when I look like this, anyone can easily identify that this one is Rasta. But when you put other colors, you can, because now there are colors that look Rasta, like gay colors. So I can say that no, this one is a gay color. This one is this color. This one is this color. But these colors Rasta represent Africa. It's Africa's way, mostly anything to do with Africa.
So who was the founder of your culture, Rastafari?
And I think I'll say there is no actual like say who is the founder. Why I'll say that? Because those were the people that were the founders are the people that were taken away from Africa and brought there in America as slavery. So those people, they started to rebel against the system. So they wanted to come back home here in Africa. You get me right? So they wanted to go here back Africa, but they didn't know where to go. So Marcus Garvey said, look upon Africa, a king will be crowned. Then 1930, His Majesty was crowned. So when His Majesty was crowned, His Majesty, his name is His Majesty is Rastafari, you see. So they took the name from Rastafari, who is the king from Ethiopia, to Rastafari. So you see, that's how the connection now builds up Rasta. I don't know whether you get me.
You know, I do
So
get you.
it builds the Rasta, because
The
then they
Rasta.
were looking at somebody that was going to take them to Africa. You see, so one prophet said, no, we must look at Africa. I see somebody is going to be crowned. That somebody is going to open gates for people to repatriate. And His Majesty was crowned in 1930. 72 nations were there to witness it. So now he allowed those people to come. And those people from that time, they were called by our father's name, Rastafari, who is the pillar of the organization here in Africa at that year time.
It's good. That's what I wanted to ask. Where does the word Rasta,
Yes.
what does it mean? Where does it come from? So it is already answered.
Okay.
Since the king and the queen are in Ethiopia, do
Yes.
you as Rastafarian sometimes visit the king?
This is what happens. As Rasta, we're not looking at going and take over the crown of the family, royalty on that side. But we're looking as the Rastas of making sure that we're dealing with the movement that our father was doing, which is the organization of the African unity. We look definitely at seeing Rastaman going to in the Addis Ababas there, going in the organization, in the offices where the parliament of the organization in Ethiopia, because Ethiopia is the pillar, it's where Africa, when they have a problem, they must go to Ethiopia. So the Rastaman must be there so that when Africa has a problem, the Rastaman is there to solve the people's problem. He must be part of that Ethiopia because Ethiopia is one with Africa.
Okay. So as Rastafarians, do you believe in God? Like in the Almighty?
Yes.
Because you're saying King Jah, but like mainly are you on culture or you also believe in Jesus Christ?
Okay, good question. Another question. Okay. God, that's why we must another question. There is God. That's why I said king means I'm the king. Jah, it means I must be connected to God. Jah is God. Roots, Africa. Then my roots means my roots are in Africa. That is the meaning of King Jah Roots, Africa. Then now, we believe in God. That's why you say Jama means God, man of God. In that form, it means you are connected. But one, our God is very different from you telling me about Jesus. Because now when you talk of Jesus, that's where now we part ways. Because now when you talk of God, there's no way that I can say go and paint God for me, then go and paint God. There's no way at all. But when you talk of Jesus, I can say go and paint Jesus for me. You can go and paint the white man and what. That is Jesus. So for a Rasta man, he's not part of that story. Yes, for a Rasta man, he's not part of that story. So our story when it comes to drawing, we look upon His Majesty, who is this one, so who is in Ethiopia. He talks about the unification of Africans. That's what most we look upon him, not what him was eating, but him is from the royal family. That's how it is. That's
Okay.
how it is.
So you're saying king, it's you.
Yes.
You see us, you are king.
Yes.
Jah, it's God.
Yes.
So why is it that you're saying King Jah? Because the one who's big is Jah, not king. So because God is the one who comes first before the king. So, but you then when you put it, you say King Jah.
Yes.
You start with yourself.
Yes.
Why start with yourself?
Thank you. Because I must start with myself because it's my self story. So it's me that is the king. I'm telling you that me, I'm the king. But the king that is connected to Jah means me and Jah, we are one thing. Then my roots are in Africa. For the Africans at home and abroad. Then the whole world is free.
So that's why you say King Jah Roots.
Africa.
It can't be Jah King Roots.
No, that would be another one. Meaning, these names are like calling names. So it's a calling name. You give yourself, like you commit yourself to Rasta.
Yes.
Then you give yourself a name, but it's a spiritual name that you give yourself. So it must mean it's me that is the king. That's the first thing. I must know that I'm a king. But knowingly that I'm a king, I must know that I'm from the Creator who is Jah. And my leave it, whether I've got so much money, whether I've got whatever, I must know that my roots and culture are in Africa. I must look upon the teachings of Africa because I know in Africa there's where there is humanity. In Africa there is where there is Ubuntu, you see. So I must look upon those roots. I must not lose them. There's so much things that are there in Africa that I must look at. So that's why my roots are in Africa.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. You can do you have anything to leave for the viewers? Like what you can say to abalaleli bangaphandle because there are some Rastafarians, but who cannot actually be Rastafarians freely because of their backgrounds. Like you're saying, your family, they were not Rastafarians, but still you were a Rastafarian. Though it was difficult, yes, but still you are Rastafarian. So what do you have to say to the viewers? Someone who wants to be a Rastafarian, but because of the family, what do you have to say to the family and that person? And also, what do you have to say about smoking ganja? Because now there are young kids also, even though ganja was licensed last year, as you mentioned, but there are small kids who are at school. So what do you have to say to them? Because yes, it is licensed. Now people are a little bit too wayward. They want to smoke this. So what do you have to say to the viewers? You can just say a few words that you want to leave for them.
Okay, what I'll say to those that love the levity of Rasta, and it's not an easy levity, but it's a beautiful levity. Which one? You must skill yourself. Skill yourself. Get up and do something for yourself. Because once you get up and do something for yourself, there will come a time in which people accept you because they see your works. So if Mama Tata from those works, and let the help, the ganja, be an inspiration that empowers you, and don't mix alcohol and all these other things in the movement of Rasta, because this will coop along. And first thing again, second or third thing, you must know yourself that you are a king or you are a queen in everything that ends, regardless of how tough life might be or things how they might be, but you must tell yourself that you are a king and a queen to find a solution to that problem. Give thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay. Balalele makhaya nizwele lana ukuthi like being a Rastafarian is not a bad thing. Because I know there are some of you like who no, ngiyamzonda Rasta, ama-Rasta ngiyawazonda, but no, they are also human guys. Bangabantu, and as you sizwile lana, like iganja, it is a herb. But please, young, like ingane ezikolweni, don't smoke this thing. Don't smoke it because it's also not good for you because this thing is too strong.
I'll say again, to ingane zesikole, go youth man, there's nothing wrong with smoking, and this is how you can prove it. There is nothing wrong with smoking. Take up the help and be a good boy. Excel esikoleni ntwana yami. Ubabonise intuthu vele when you're always excelling number one, then you will hear what are they complaining about. But if you smoke and usuyolala la eklasini ubhezi uyenza lezi zinto zakho ezingekho, then stop the help because you are not healing yourself. But if you are healing yourself to the levels of just the righteous and doing excel esikela ntwana yami, if not, why not?
Well, they know the right suppliers as kids because they can go and buy ganja that is mixed with whatever is.
Nyaube.
Yes.
You see, that one is very tricky. Yeah, that one I think you just need to be very careful when yourself and see because I may eat this one and that one and this one. But when you need to know what you're smoking, you need to know what you smoke is clean. Plus, anything now you just smoke. You must when that thing is rolled, you are part of that thing. There's nothing added. Like mine, it's just clean, So when it's clean, who's the roll? I think iba easier along those levels. Then you figure out now that one is smoking. Why is it design? That means there's something. So now we must position it the right position. Yes.
Okay, guys, nizwele. Thank you so much for watching, and also, Marasta, don't forget to keep yourself clean also. See you again back next week. Santanda. Don't forget to share, subscribe, like, and comment. Bye.